One of the goals of sustainable agriculture is to promote the cultivation of low-input foods. That is, foods that require less resources to grow, process, and distribute. But not all foods fall into this category. So what does it mean for sustainability when a high-input crop like citrus turns out to be especially well suited for local growing conditions? Among the many crops tried in the early days of Sahuaro Ranch, oranges were the most important. Sahuaro Ranch planted the first orange trees in 1890. The 20-acre grove at the time was considered experimental. Over the next few years, the trees struggled to grow through freezes and water shortages. But they did much better under those conditions than other fruits such as peaches, apricots, and figs. And in the end, oranges proved to be Sahuaro Ranch's most reliable fruit crop. This experience was repeated in other Salt River Valley farms, and the citrus slowly became the most important commercial crop grown in the valley. Most of the oranges grown here were loaded onto refrigeration cars and shipped to the Midwest and East. This meant that oranges were in some respects a high input crop, thanks to the energy resources that went into cooling and shipping them. They also needed a lot of water, and grown here in Arizona, as much as 60 inches a year. Does this mean that oranges were not a sustainable food? Well, that depends. Exported oranges, as we have seen, were a high input product and therefore less sustainable. But when the oranges were purchased and consumed here in Arizona, they were a local food and much more sustainable. And it certainly was more efficient to raise oranges here than in colder climates where they would have required energy-intensive greenhouses. That is why oranges, unlike tomatoes or salad greens, were only grown in milder climates across the country. The case presented by citrus highlights a tricky aspect of sustainability. We know we can make agriculture more resource efficient by reducing long-distance shipping and long-term refrigerated storage, and by planting crops that require less water. But doing so would exact a price. It would mean giving up many fruits and vegetables that we now consider necessary for a varied and healthy diet, like grapefruit and oranges.